Welcome back to Angel's Workshop. I have a little bit of time right now, so I'm knocking out a few videos before I fly out to Kansas City, Missouri tomorrow. Kansas City, Kansas. Never knew there was two Kansas cities, but it's Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri. One of those cities has a restaurant called Q36. Highly recommend it. I travel for work. Eventually, I'm considering doing a channel just on traveling alone. Because there are a lot of cool places here in the U.S., places you would love to visit, places, this video is getting off topic really fast, but there's places that I would love to visit with my family, places I would love to live if I was single, places I would never go if I had a family, places I would only go if I had a family, things like that. Anyways, this video here is about tools for once you start building stuff, shelves, things like that. You're going to need to measure, right? So where do you start? Where do you begin? You know, the bare basics, right? So I'm going to go over probably my 5, and I'm kind of improvising here as I go, but 5 things you absolutely need. You know, first is you need something to work on. A table. You need a table, something solid, big. This one here, actually, let's not even guess. This table here that I have is on caster wheels. It is 42 inches, so about 3.5 feet or so. And about 5.5 feet. It is has caster wheels. I can move this around. That's a big plus too. Once you start working on stuff, especially bigger stuff, the fact that you can move stuff around. I can pull my car in here, move this table completely out of the way. I can double this as a place to put all my tools that as I'm working on a car for certain projects. So yeah, table is definitely a plus. I mean, how can you start cutting stuff on air? You can't just hold something and just cut it. You know, it's gonna be off completely. Second is a measuring tape. This one here, believe it or not, is a little Hyper Tough from Walmart. Bought this years ago. I've only been using it quite a bit in the last year, but it has a rubber outing to it. Regular measuring table. I've learned now that there's different types of measuring tables. I learned there's a feature on here where you can hold it. You know, of course, you can lock it, you know, all together. But there's so it's really cool as you start learning this stuff. As you go, you're like, man, I never knew about that. So some people that have been doing woodworking or mechanic stuff for years, you know, take for granted. But someone like me that has just started, really really simple stuff. That I'm like, man, I wish I would have known that years ago. I'm 36 years old now, believe it or not, and I'm just learning how to do some of this. But I learned some of the basics growing up, so thanks, Dad. Appreciate you. But yeah, table. You need a measuring tape. Uh, you need a level. I think this was from Harbor Freight, a couple dollars. You know, I'm sure a lot of people, if you don't know how to use it, just has a little bubble in the middle. As you're doing it, make sure the bubble is in between the lines. You're good to go. For the sides, it has a 9 degree. There you go. So when it's a perfect 45 degree, isn't right there in the middle, good to go. So make sure that it's big, has a measuring side on it as well. I've used this as well. So table, measuring tape, a level. You need a stud finder. You can use a magnet. This is like $5 or $6. It's called the Stud Buddy. Man, it's great. When I'm up on this, when a ladder up there, I just go against the drywall with this. You know, go against the drywall. When it feels a magnet, it'll get stuck to it. And what I've learned is if you're going on like this, you know, it's not necessarily up and down. You know, the magnet's right here. So the piece of uh, wood that the nail, the board can be going like this or going like this, and this won't really identify it. So what you do is you find one, you know, and you mark it, and then you find another one, and then you mark it, and that's usually the way the nails are going, whether they're up and down, left and right. So this is great. Also, when I hit the magnet, you know, I always turn it, you know, to make sure most things in a house are going, you know, up and down and left and right. So Stud Buddy, $6-7. We'll buy it 100% of the time. There's a more expensive version of this that's like $12. That I think it's digital. I don't see the point of it. This is useful enough. So yeah, table, measuring tape, a level, a stud finder, and I would go with the square. I didn't start off with this one. I started off with this little blue one here. That wasn't planned for. Start off with this one. So this square has been useful. So yeah, I would start off with this one. You know, it does 90-degree angles, which is yeah, I would do that. So let's edit this video, a live edit. Table, measuring tape, level, stud finder, and this little square here. It's plastic. It's super useful. You could do 90-degree angles. So you find the edge, mark it, and then you're good to go. I upgraded from this to this one here. It's longer. It's a little bit, it finds the angle a little bit better. It's a little flatter. I bought a 3-piece set. That's, I don't know if you can see it up there. There's 3 pieces on there. I bought a really small, tiny one, a mid-sized one, and then a larger one. And yeah, so I have my little 3 pieces up there. And let me see. There's room for one more thing when you're cutting. Well, other than an obvious table saw and a drill, that's a given. These are like extra stuff that you, I guess, do without. You know, if you just have a drill and a table saw, you can just start, you know, doing stuff without measuring. This stuff you need for some accuracy. I would say some clamps. Get yourself a good. It is true. You can never have enough clamps. This is a really simple one. 6 inches Harbor Freight. They're like $4 or $5. Now what I did is for my other ones, there's a little thing right here, like a little rivet. I used my grinder. I grinded that down, so I was able to take this completely off, flip it, and it's able to push things apart instead of just clamping things in. I'll tell you why this is super useful. You don't need 2 hands to do this, so you don't need to like hold it and like turn anything. So let me see if I can. Oh, I'll do it on here. So say I'm holding this and I need an extra hand. I'll just squeeze that. And then once that's tight, it's good to go. It literally is like a third arm. I've used this when I'm working on the car. I have a hose that I'm working on that I need out of the way. I'll just put the hose. I'll grab onto a piece of metal. And I'll just clamp it down and then get it out of the way. And then it releases with one hand. So it's literally one hand operation. So yeah, those are my 5 things that I really use most of the time when I'm doing some shop, some cutting, or doing some stuff here in the shop. My little clicker.